Hi, I'm Jason Inman.
And I'm Ashley Victoria Robinson.
Welcome to DCTV Recap, the recap show where we talk about two DCTV shows, Supergirl and Legends of Tomorrow. Many of you asked, why don't we do Arrow in this episode anymore? Because so many of you demanded that we do Arrow separately. So make up your damn minds. Right?
Yeah.
No one to blame but yourselves.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming to the show. Let's go right into Supergirl.
Supergirl Season 3, Episode 2 triggers. A thief with psychic powers attacks National City and proves to be a formidable opponent for Supergirl.
All right, talking about Supergirl first, of course, we're going to first talk about the good, and we're going to talk about the bad. We're going to give you a rating, and we might give you predictions if we remember. Last week we did not.
We did not.
Ashley, I thought some good is the new mom actress that is on this show who is playing Rain. Of course, we don't know that from watching the show, but we've been told that in all the reports. I liked her, but I just don't care about her storyline. I don't need the mom on the show. I really don't need it, but I think she's doing a wonderful job.
So the actress's name is Odette Annabelle. Very pretty name. I think she is really, really great on the show. I guess I'm sad she's gonna be a bad guy.
Yeah.
But I'm excited that we're going to get a villainess who is a great actor, because Supergirl's kind of waffled on that a little bit.
What else did you like from this episode?
I liked Alex in this episode. I thought we saw a lot of emotional maturity from Alex. We have some moments in the past with her with Maggie where she's not on her best game, like last episode, and I really liked that she could fully realize who she is as an older sister to Kara throughout the episode. The family dynamic, we say it every episode, is the best thing
it's the strongest on
that Supergirl brings to the show.
I really liked Lena Luthor walking into not Daily Planet, Catco, and basically putting her foot down on Jimmy, acting like a businessman Luthor. I really enjoyed that.
Daily Olsen. I also really liked that Eve Tessmacher's back. She's adorable.
I love her.
And I like that when Lena, she's like, oh, I'll get your coffee. I asked your assistant what you liked. And Lena, she's like, I'm going to go to the stairs. And Lena's like, no, use the elevator. She's like, no, only the boss uses the elevator. And Lena's like, that's ridiculous. Use the elevator. Lena killed it this episode. Katie McGrath's accent's still wildly inconsistent. I love it. I'm just assuming now that she went to school in Ireland or something.
Yeah, Lena Luthor's British. Just go with it.
Yeah,
with it.
She's so great.
Another thing that we should always go with, Erica Durance.
Ah, bless.
I love it every time we see Erica Durance. Not only do I think she is the best live-action Lois Lane that we've ever seen, but I love that she's now part of this new Superman legacy, and she's Kara's mom. And we go back to Krypton, and we get to hear her final speech again, and we see the ship fly off again. That was actually so cool to see, like, Kara's POV again, but to see it from, like, a VR. It kind of seemed like a VR reality kind of thing. I thought the special effects looked great. I thought it was so much fun, and I thought it was so impactful. I'll tell you what, they are definitely getting their money's worth out of Erica Durance this season. I'm making sure they're like, well, we have her, we're gonna use her, and you know what? Every time they use her, episode goes up for me.
I would agree. I think she's a much better casting choice than previous Allura, so I like it now. Every time I actually think her and Melissa Benoist look like they could be related.
Oh, yeah?
I do. So that's great that they look like they can be family members, and I think. You brought up the pod, which is maybe the best aspect of the entire episode. Sometimes we forget that Supergirl and Superman are not just carbon copies of each other.
Yes.
And she was like 12 when she was put in that pod. Superman was a baby.
12, 13. You're right, yeah.
Superman would have no memory of
None.
that. Kara
He was an
has
infant.
a memory of that, and that is so amazing. I don't know if it's been done in the comics before. It might have been, and I've never read it. To me, this was a new aspect to the character that I had never really thought that much about. And since Sai, who's the villain of the two, ironically showed up in the Adventures of Supergirl tie-in comic during season 1, written by Sterling Gates,
who now writes on the Flash.
Who now writes on the Flash. So look at that; it's all full circle. If Sai is going to play on fear, I thought this was a really intelligent way to bring it in. I didn't like when it wound up being Mon-El in the end, but up to that point, I was super on board with it.
You know, another thing that I was super on board, because it fits in this, and then I'll give you I'll ask about you.
Please.
So one of the great things about this show is that we possibly have one of the best actresses ever playing the part of Supergirl. She's so good. Melissa Benoist is really amazing. And sometimes she gets material to act that is worth her caliber, and sometimes she doesn't. In this episode, she got a scene that I think quite possibly might be my favorite scene that she has ever done, and it is her revealing the Krypton memory. and her. It's such she cries over it.
She's a great emoter.
Yeah, and it's so quiet. The show plays the episode so quiet. And a director could have played that moment so big and so grandiose and so melodramatic, but they decided to keep it so quiet. And because of that, the impact of it was huge and really hit me as a viewer in the heartstrings.
Yeah.
Ashley, what else did you like from this episode?
I liked when Carl was doing Kryptonian meditation.
Oh, I was going to bring that up too.
Man.
I was going to bring that up too. Are you going to talk about the Kryptonese?
You can please.
Do you see the shirt I'm wearing? I'm wearing classic Jor-El. So anything Krypton, I'm in. To be honest with you,
you're so geeked. I love it.
I love it. I love it because I love everything Superman. To my knowledge, we have only heard Kryptonese, that is the language of Krypton, heard out loud maybe 2 or 3 times, and the other 2 times, and to my memory, and please correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, were on Smallville.
Yes, I believe so.
But I think this is the longest string of Kryptonese we have ever heard at one time. So when she started talking, I literally said, I think, she's speaking Kryptonese.
Yeah,
she's speaking Kryptonese. I think it was cool because you are right. That isn't the aspect of how she's different from Superman. She remembers this world.
And that's something that we brought up a lot in season 1, not always in the most deft way possible. And we sort of dropped with the season 2 transition over to the CW. We lost some of how hard she's holding on to Krypton, and I thought this was a really intelligent way to feed the narrative and reveal more of that world without having to do a flash, because the Krypton flashbacks can be too much.
Sure.
But I would love to see more moments like this going forward. Maybe, what's the name of the Kryptonese martial art?
Oh, God.
I'm sorry to put you on the spot.
I don't know.
But that's another aspect that I would love to see brought into the show. It's things like that, again, really make Supergirl stand out. And I thought Melissa Benoist acted it really well. And it led to another great Alex scene. So I was like 100% on board for that.
What is some other stuff from me that you like from this episode? And I will look it up, the Krypton martial arts.
Oh, while you're looking for it? I liked getting to see J'onn J'onzz use his telepathy and actually...
That's nice. We don't get to see that often.
We don't, and usually when he's doing it, it's to wipe a human's mind. I waver on this because I like seeing him do it. I don't even mind the Professor X, I'm going to touch my temple to really lead you to let you know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I didn't buy the line when he said that Psy was the most powerful psychic he'd ever fought, but J'onn J'onzz is a character who's in danger of being more powerful than Supergirl, so I get it. You kind of have to cut that off.
He's super overpowered.
He is, but I liked seeing that, and then I like what happens in the final scene, I think, as a result of him amplifying his telepathy.
All right, now there are 3 Kryptonian martial arts styles that have been revealed. The first one is Horukanu. That is one that most people haven't heard. There's one called Clorkor, which is another one.
I've heard of that one.
The one, I think this is the one that you've heard. The one that I remember that was introduced by Joe Kelly mainly and has been mentioned on Supergirl before is Torchasm Bow.
Yes, yeah.
That is the Kryptonian martial arts style that has actually been mentioned on Supergirl before and, again, was created by Joe Kelly.
Thank you for the quick Googling.
No problem. Sorry I couldn't remember it, but it's alien gibberish words. So, yeah. Let's talk about another Melissa Benoist performance that was a plus in this episode. Okay, I don't like Mon-El. We've said many times we don't like Mon-El.
I was going to bring up the scene.
But when she freaks out that she's like, Mon-El's dead. I sent him off to his death. The scene was great. She gave another great performance. And then also, we're going to talk about unsung hero again of the series, Blake Neely. Really?
Oh, the music!
The music during this episode, or this scene specifically, was so good. And even though I don't care about Mon-El, man, it really worked.
It did. And I actually think this scene was a great foil to the earlier emotional scene that you talked about where she was sad about Krypton. You could see her sort of grieving and then getting angry by it. And I thought they were played very well against each other.
Yes. And then, of course, my final good thing, we'll go to yours if you have any more, McGann showing up at the very end. We need you on Mars. I really like that. Anytime we see McGann, it's a plus.
Yeah, I don't know any reason for him to go to Mars. I think they talked earlier at the TCAs that he was going to go to Mars, so great.
We're going to meet his dad this season.
Oh, that's right.
Played by Carl Lumbly, who voiced Martian Manhunter in Justice League Unlimited.
Yeah, very cool. So I guess that's why we're going to go to Mars to meet Dad.
Yep.
But I really like McGann in this show. I think it's the best version of her that we've had on TV, and I love their relationships. I thought it was great.
Any other final good things? Because I have more bad things than good, because woo boy was this an episode.
No, I think we can transition.
All right, let's go to bad. We start off this episode with a morning musical montage, a thing that the CW loves to do. And good God, I don't just show us these scenes. Alex, I thought, acted like an idiot in this episode. A lot of this episode was her having the argument between, do we have a band or do we have a DJ? And they're having this argument in the middle of a top secret working office government facility.
But forget about that. Like, that's a professional work environment.
That's what I said, yeah.
But I mean, whether it's top secret or government,
Oh,
whether
yeah.
you're in a donut shop or you're at the DEO, like, that is wildly unprofessional, and you're not considering everyone around you. It gave Win a couple really great punchlines.
Sure.
Alex is better than that.
Yep. What are the bad things you not like about this episode?
Man, Sai.
Oh, I'm going to talk a lot about her.
Sai is a very silly Silver Age Supergirl villainess, but I don't think is a terrible idea. I don't think it was executed very well here. I think the model that they cast, who just walked off the boat from Sweden,
and Jane the Virgin.
I don't watch Jane the Virgin. I'm sorry. If you do, I hope you love it. I didn't understand why what was good or interesting or funny. Like, she made no choices. Derp face is not a choice. And then I guess we couldn't afford any special effects because we went to Krypton.
Well, yeah. Okay, let's talk about this. So when Melissa Benoist first confronts Sai, the way they filmed it was really cheap. Now, I'm going to give you an example of this, but the best way to explain this is that if you are a fan of Star Trek Voyager, you can find a Star Trek Voyager blooper reel. And one of the best things the blooper reel is that there is a blooper of it of Tim Russ, who plays Tuvok, and in the episode, he has to fake that he got hit by a phaser blast and thrown into the back console.
Oh my God.
Now, if
Google this, it's so funny.
Go Google this. Google Star Trek Voyager blooper reel. Now, in this clip, he gets hit by the blast, but then he does this thing where he goes, That's what Melissa Benoist did in this episode. She got the vertigo powers, and she literally just went like...
And the camera kind of went like this.
Like, it wasn't even slow motion. It was actually Melissa Benoist acting out slow motion. It looked like a special effect worthy of the 1988 Superboy series.
Yeah.
That's bad.
And in defense of Melissa Benoist, I don't know how you would have played that better.
Oh, God.
But it could have used a nice filter and maybe like some blurring that would have enhanced what is otherwise really like a very silly physical performance. But I get, like, what else are you gonna do?
It really, you called it. It really did scream of like, oh, we used up all the money on Krypton.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, unfortunately.
I also, again, this is the second episode in a row where Supergirl is like, that's a human problem. Like, she was like, claustrophobia is a human problem.
Which she's never said before.
Like, she's becoming, I hate to say it, very xenophobic against humans.
It's derogatory, yeah.
And against, it also is not Supergirl's character. We haven't seen this for 2 seasons, and now this season, this is the second episode in a row that she's been like, I'm better than humans. Like next I'm expecting her to be like, I don't get stomach aches. Humans get stomach aches.
Yeah, really.
Tums. I mean, I don't know. What the hell's going to happen next? You know, like, I don't have bad hair days. Humans have bad hair days.
She doesn't have bad hair days.
Like,
There's a great style.
But I mean, like, where does this line stop?
Yeah.
Now I'm expecting this every episode, and to be honest with you, this is not Supergirl.
Yeah.
Supergirl does not act like this. Neither does Superman. So where the hell is this coming from? What else did you not like about this episode?
I didn't like that Maggie was essentially useless. Maggie's a supporting character I really like. If you don't have a use for her, don't put her in the episode.
Yeah.
Her fighting with Alex is not a good enough reason for her to be in the episode. She really could have been benched here, and the episode would have been stronger for it, unfortunately.
I'm going to make a request right now to the Supergirl producers. Stop the mom stuff. Stop it.
I was going to bring that up.
Kill that storyline right now, because here's the thing about it. If I hadn't read this interview from Comic-Con that they were going to do this, let's build to our big bad storyline, I would be watching this episode and being like, who the hell is this mom? Why do we keep cutting to this mom? What the hell is the deal with mom? I mean, we had this storyline where her girl, who is clearly a teenager, stupidly puts herself in danger so that mom can come save her. And you're just like, are you kidding me? And
but also, it's the William problem.
Yes.
You've written somebody who has deductive reasoning, who has a vocabulary, who has a brain, as if she's maybe 4?
Yep.
Like, it's insulting to anyone in that age bracket, and it's insulting to the better writing that we can get from the show.
Yeah, again, I say you need to hard dump this storyline now.
Kill the daughter, move on.
Yeah.
That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
That's why she's gonna turn into Rain.
It is not working. And the only reason why I'm going with it is because I have heard from interviews that she is Rain. This is reminding me so much of a really bad season of Smallville where they introduced Doomsday and he could transform like the Hulk in the Doomsday Plan by Sam Witwer, actually, who is a good actor. But even he couldn't save it. And it was one of the worst seasons of Smallville ever. This is what it is reminding me of. And I'm telling you right now, as a person who watched that season of Smallville, I watched every season of Smallville, it's not going to work. Dump it now before you give Supergirl its worst season yet.
Please don't give us a season 3 slump.
Yes. So far, no CW show has been able to avoid the third-year slump. So please don't do it. I also want to give a shout out of a bad thing that one of the workers, he had to freak out about the bees. Bees! So many bees!
Oh,
there you go, Nicolas Cage reference.
Yeah.
And then we beat Sai with Supergirl being like, mind over matter, headbutt.
Awful.
And then we learned at the very end of the episode that Sam, the mom, is just... The job that she was applying for is CEO of a $1 billion company? What? What? Okay.
Yeah.
I guess. I really, there's nothing in this show to make me care about Samantha. Stop shoving Samantha down my throat. Anything final before we go into ratings?
No, I think we pretty much covered it.
All right, let's go into a rating based on a scale of 1 to 5 things that I will not put on screen. Ashley, what do you give this episode of Supergirl? I forgot the title.
Triggers. I think Triggers is
a bad title.
A pretty weak episode. I think there's pretty limited redeeming qualities to it, save a couple pretty great emotional performances. Since you're not putting your effort on screen, I guess I'll give it a 1.5 slices of Kryptonian salami. It's not great. No more of this, please. How about you? What do you get a rate Triggers?
There are a couple great performances by Melissa Benoist in this episode that are fantastic. And for me, they are the only thing that saves this episode from me giving a DC TV show the first ever 0 rating. So because of those two performances, this gets a 1. I felt like nothing happened in this episode. I do not need Rain. The villain was Flash Season 1 bad and Supergirl Season 1 bad. And everything about this episode just did not congeal. And again, we're only 2 episodes in, but this really has me worried. I'm like, oh, we are looking at the Supergirl Season 3 slump. Please prove me wrong next week, Supergirl. Please prove me wrong. All right, let's go straight into the predictions. Ashley, based on this episode of Supergirl, it has to be nothing but up from here. What do you think is going to happen?
Dear God, I can only hope that we are going up from here. I think that we are looking at, since we have had Maggie and Alex fight every episode since they got together, I think we're going to get the wedding called off.
Oh, you think they're going to divorce?
No, I think like
they're not married,
two
but
weeks
split
before
up.
their wedding, they're going to call it off. Only to get back. I think we're getting a lot of weddings this DCTV season.
You're probably right.
Because they got one. Spoiler alert, they leaked that Arrow's got one and Flash has got one.
Yep.
So,
Who's
someone on Legends.
Nate and Amaya?
Please don't make them marry.
I'm making
livid.
I'm making the prediction that the wedding is Martin Stein and Mick.
He's already married. Great. I ship it.
Heatwave and Martin Stein.
Heatwave and a clown.
Yep.
Stick around for the Legends part for that. Yeah, so I think we're going to see the disintegration of this relationship, although I do think they'll get back together in time to be married. But I'm really like, they're fully functioning adults, and I'm really sick of how petty they can be sometimes, and I think it's a weak writing choice.
Sure, yeah, it is.
But I do think that, I don't think you seed it for a year and a half and not pay it off with a breakup. So, how about you? What do you think is coming down the pipe for Supergirl?
Well, speaking of love, I think we were introduced in this episode to a relationship possibility that we had never considered before, and also a relationship possibility that will be very interesting for fans of Superman. I think Jimmy Olsen and Lena Luthor are going to date now.
I had that thought.
I think they set it up, and I think that Lena's going to be all into it because she's like, oh, I thought you were just an idiot photographer who sometimes took pictures of my brother during his trial. And I think Jimmy is going to have a big thing because he's like, she's smart, she's capable, but she's a Luthor.
Yeah.
And I actually think that this could be Jimmy's most interesting storyline, and actually I'm kind of excited for it.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, so let's move straight into the future of Legends of Tomorrow.
Legends of Tomorrow, Season 3, Episode 2, Freak Show. The Legends attempt to fix the anachronism in 1870 that happens to be P.T. Barnum's circus.
All right, let's talk about the good, the bad, and then a rating and prediction, just like we did with Supergirl. Let's start off with the good. Actually, I really like that this episode started 6 months ago and showed us the moment where Vixen left Nate.
I do too.
I loved it. She sees her granddaughter, because when we got introduced to Vixen, Mari McCabe, in Arrow Season 4.
Previously in the animated
series.
series.
And also she had an animated series that led up to that. Now she got a Season 2 where she actually met the Legends. I thought the actress who played Vixen on Arrow was great. I thought the episode where she showed up was great. To be honest with you, this is one of those moments where we have a character seeing another character of Destiny, and because I already know how great that character is, I'm just like, yeah, you are right. She is fantastic.
Yeah.
And I really like that that's the reason why she leaves. She's like, oh, my daughter, or my granddaughter, excuse me, is very successful, and I can't screw that up.
If I stay here too long, she will never be born.
Exactly. And then very briefly, I like that we get a quick Titanic joke from Victor Garber, who was in Titanic with Billy Zane, who's also in this episode. Ashley, what'd you like?
I like that we got Amaya back. I knew she wasn't going to be gone for very long.
She's so good.
She is one of the best cast members.
Yes.
She brings a lot to this episode, and having her back, you could really feel that. I loved her teaming up with Sarah. I like Katie Lotz a lot, but she needs to be bolstered by a stronger actor, and them pairing up together to, like, take down the saber-tooth tiger and be the badass ladies of the show together that's what I want Legends to be.
Yeah.
And we definitely got some flashes of that brilliance back in this episode, which was great.
We gotta talk about the eyebrow brilliance and pearly white mouth smile of Mr. Billy Zane. All right, now
His eyeliner was aces.
We've been talking about Billy Zane coming to this show for a long time. The Phantom himself on Legends of Tomorrow. Now, while I wish that he played a superhero in this show, he was definitely a good in this show. He was amazing as P.T. Barnum. Every scene he was in, he stole. And to be honest with you, he took some really dumb written dialogue and elevated it so to the height of heights because he's just a great actor. He was captivating in this episode. Every time he was on screen, you were like, bam, there you are.
He was so smarmy that even though he is the biggest piece of elephant poo, when he's on screen, it was a great time. I loved it when he had captured Ray and Jax, and he was teasing them. Like, just everything about him was awesome.
He also brought back a word that I want to bring back into popular lexicon, poppycock. I spread that around, hashtag poppycock.
There you go.
We need to bring that word back because he said that a couple times in the episode, and he's like, "You don't have powers, poppycock."
You got 4 good plosives in there to say.
There was a really funny scene with Jax and Nate when Nate was getting drunk about Amaya being back.
Yeah.
And Jax had a really great line where he's like, "Dude, she's from 1942. Did you actually think it was gonna work?"
Yeah.
Which I thought was a great
He's
line.
not wrong. Well, it's a nice callback when she was making donuts from scratch, and she's like, "I don't know how else you would make donuts." Like, that's great.
What else did you like from this episode?
Mick Rory!
Being afraid of clowns?
Man, Dominic Purcell is just
a
God's
treasure.
gift to me. Preserve that man. He's a national treasure. The joke about him, I don't think clowns are scary. Like, that phobia completely escapes me.
But Ashley,
I don't understand that
what
phenomenon.
about the Joker?
I mean, I know it is super trendy right now. And I think it's funny that Mick is so afraid of it, and that the way he overcomes it by the end of the episode is really. Although I think there was a missed opportunity to see a Harley Quinn or a Joker-esque costume. Man, watching Mick beat the snot out of them at the end, and then sending Professor
Victor Garber as a clown was so amazing.
Genius. Again, like P.T. Barnum, stupid idea, bad on paper, bad in practice. Awesome in execution. So great.
Also like the scene that I've come to love from last season. Deo!
Oh, no, that's still a bad scene.
It's the same moment. I actually hope when Victor Garber leaves the ship, he sings Deo.
Awful.
Deo! Deo!
Also, God bless his stunt person who went flying through the air and executed a perfect back roll.
Although,
Very
what was the
impressed.
point of that jump? I don't know.
We needed a stunt.
So we get a little bit more, we learned that Amaya actually went to Detroit and saw Mari in person. That was another great little moment. Again, tying it back to Vixen. You know what? I like Goofy Gary, the time agent from the Time Bureau.
Oh, so do I.
I really do. Like, he's kind of silly. He's kind of stupid. And to be honest with you, I hope he just stays with them. I hope he stays on the ship.
The actor made great choices. You mentioned something like this when we were talking after the show.
Can I say it to him?
Please.
I thought it would have been funnier if you mentioned that his guy's name was Ted, and then you go throughout the season, and at the very end, when Rip Hunter's done with him, he's like, back to the building, Mr. Cord. So that's Ted Cord.
Such a good Ted Cord.
He looks like Ted Cord.
He does. He's not heavy enough, but that actor was great. I also really liked Agent Sharp in this episode for the first time.
Ooh, okay.
The writing on that character sucks. Her fight with Sarah was awesome.
I have that down here. It's great.
Awesome. And she got a lot of facey time, so I think that actress was hired because she's a great fighter.
I think she's a stunt woman. I think she's a stunt woman, yeah.
And then the joke where they were like, you want to get some water? Like, they were funny together. Yes. And I would like to see more of that and less of her just taking a giant dump on the Legends' egos, even though she's not wrong. The Legends are the worst time travelers ever.
They are. They're pretty bad.
Ever.
I like that we brought up the Man of Steel and that Billy Zane was like, oh, that's catchy.
Yeah.
I did like the water break in the fight. I even liked, okay, so when the whole episode happened and Firestorm showed up and all stuff like that, I liked the scene that we had Billy Zane. It was like, and that, my friends, is our show.
Wait, come and see what we'll do tomorrow.
Yeah, don't you know? Like, who knows what'll happen tomorrow? I was like, that's great.
Yeah.
That was a nice little piece of writing. And again, it just helped exemplify that one of the best things of this episode was Billy Zane. Mm-hmm. It's too bad that he's P.T. Barnum because, like, I kind of want to be like, kind of like Jonah Hex. I'm like, you're such an awesome character. Like, here's my thing. I hope P.T. Barnum is the Harry Mudd of Legends of Tomorrow. If you don't know who Harry Mudd is, he's a character, he's a silly character that showed up in the start of the original series. I kind of hope we keep going to like the early 20th century and we keep running into P.T. Barnum and his new scam.
Actually, the late 19th century.
Excuse me.
But
he lived in like the 1910s.
He did. Yeah.
So,
but this episode was set in 1870.
Yes. But I think it would be really cool. I think it would be really neat to like keep running into P.T. Barnum at various points.
I would like that only because of Billy Zane. I actually think P.T. Barnum is like a garbage human being.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be happy if we never saw him again. Can I say a nice thing about Nate for the first time ever?
Oh, man. Whoa. Mark it in your calendars right now at the exact second you're watching this video. This is the first thing she's ever said good about Nate. All right, I'm ready.
Nate was really polite to the bearded lady, and I thought that was sweet.
That was a sweet scene.
That was like a sweet. It had nothing to do with him as a character. It was a great piece of writing.
I think he would have done more of that bearded lady.
And he pretty much sexualized his girlfriend for their entire first scene together. So I don't doubt it. But I thought it was a sweet moment. So what is something nice about
that's
him.
a great moment. That was a great moment. It was also cool seeing really quick. There's a brand new Photoshop picture of Laurel, Sarah, and Oliver.
It was nice
because of them and all their bad wigs.
Yeah.
Okay, there was a nice little moment. One of the best things about Legends of Tomorrow is their team dynamic. The team dynamic, the cast, is generally very solid.
Yes.
And the way they interact with each other, even though they are terrible goofballs, is really good. So I like the idea when they found out that there was this other thing out there that Sarah's like, oh, and there's this other thing out there. And then they all cackled and was like, oh yeah, like it could be worse than an immortal sorcerer or an evil speedster who can time travel. And I was like, you know what? Legends is the only show where you could pull off this scene and you would believe it.
Yeah.
And I thought it was very earned. And I was like, for this show, that scene completely works. And I actually really enjoyed it because when you think about what they faced, you're just like, oh yeah, like they shouldn't be scared of anything.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's actually really, I actually feel they face more powerful villains than any of the other shows.
Oh, someone's going to argue with you.
Good, bring it on. Any other things you want to say positively?
I think we covered most of it.
All right, let's go into bad. Ray Palmer was super annoying in this episode. He had to make goofy poop Boy Scout jokes that he could identify poop. I don't know why there was a scene about poop in this episode.
I guess it was
tiger poop.
I guess it was supposed to foreshadow the horrific CGI on that saber-toothed tiger.
Yes, I have that as well.
Jeez.
In every shot, the saber-toothed tiger looked bad. Legends, why have you not learned your lesson? You've done this in a couple other episodes. You've never been able to pull it off. You haven't been able to pull it off with a dinosaur. You haven't been able to pull it off with a dinosaur in 2 episodes, actually. Stop doing animals because they don't look good. You don't have enough of a budget to do them, and this tiger looked bad.
Or if you have to do them, for God's sake, do it at night.
Yeah.
Shadow is your friend.
Yeah, this was quite bad. What else did you not like about this episode?
Ugh, Nate and Amaya. I just think that relationship sucks.
Well, Ashley, she is from 1942. Did you think it was actually going to last?
No, I didn't. I love that she left him. She's so much better than him. And again, the whole scene is he's basically like, I'm gonna have sex with you. And she's trying to be like really nice and sweet. And he's like, come on, let's go do it.
Where do you get that? What scene are you talking about here?
The scene where you see where she leaves him because she's like, I'm trying to make these donuts for you. It's your birthday. And he's like, I can think of something more creative to do with this chocolate sauce. Why don't you just not wear any clothes? Like, what?
Well, devil's advocate. At that point, they've been together for about a year.
I just think.
So.
I don't need to see, even if it was a couple that I liked.
Okay.
I don't need another character to talk about how much they want to sleep with their spouse.
Okay, right.
And because I don't like Nate, for me, I was like, oh, you're just garbage. This episode sucks.
I will say.
And then he treats her like crap. Like, he acts like a 16-year-old when she comes back to the ship.
Later on in the episode, he acts like a 12-year-old. That's the point. But in that first scene, I will respectfully disagree with you.
That's fine.
I think you're reading a little bit too much of your Nate hate into that scene. Again,
it is real.
They've been together for about a year there. I think they're allowed to be sexy silly, as I'm going to call it.
She's too pure for him, for this world.
The kidnapping of Ray and Jax was actually quite goofy in this episode.
It was not great.
And also, I didn't like that the only way this episode worked was because Nate couldn't steal up.
Yeah.
Because he was too drunk. Because here's the thing.
Which, by the way, did we need a boner joke for 5 minutes?
Yeah. There was no threat in this episode. There was no threat in this episode. In fact, the only reason why we have a fight between Sharp and Sarah, because if we didn't, there wouldn't even be a fist fight in this episode.
But realistically, what can Barnum do to them? Okay, he shoots them, they put him in the magic chair in Gideon, and...
Who cares?
And then they're saved. We have seen these characters come back from way worse than a gunshot from a 19th century bullet.
Yeah, but the threat, I think the reason why they should have been in this series should have been a stronger reason. Like, maybe P.T. Barnum found a piece of future tech that was left behind by a time traveler. Something like that.
Yeah.
Something along those lines would have been better. But, like... Yeah, P.T. Barnum and his crew of freaks, I mean, episode is called Freak Shows, were never a threat to these super-powered legends.
Yeah.
And every time that they couldn't defeat them just made them come off as more incompetent. And I know we had so many comments about this last week where people were like, well, that's part of the reason of Legends is because I want to watch them be incompetent. If that's what you think about Legends, fine. But you know what? The whole arc of last season was them becoming not incompetent. The whole arc of season 2 was them going from being incompetent nincompoops to becoming a team that was so solid that they didn't need Rip Hunter.
Exactly, which is where when he leaves Sarah and he lets her be the captain, that's what he says to her. Mm. And now we're back at square one with these idiots.
We're not even back at square one. We're at like square -50.
Yeah.
Like, they are beyond nincompoopy in this episode. And I don't mean to bring up the poop jokes again. I apologize. All right, let's talk about this. You said you liked Agent Sharp. I really don't like Agent Sharp at all. I think it is bad writing. I also think the actress is overacting this part so badly. She is continuing the trend that I was hoping that Billy Zane had broken of Legend having bad guest actors. Agent Sharp is not a good actress. I'm sorry, Agent Sharp actress. I know you're watching this video, but I apologize. I hope you get better. I hope when you join the main cast regularly, because I think that's going to happen, that you get to become better. But right now, they're not giving you much in the writing, and your character is a really, really bad cliche. You're like Ferris Bueller's principal, but not as good. I'm sorry, but that is the case. And also...
Wow.
I'm sorry.
No, it's your opinion.
I thought she was god awful. She was even worse in this episode than she was in episode 1. It was really, really bad. And also, I want to talk about the storyline. What do we think about Maya's totem going bad? I don't know if I really like this. I don't know if I really want Vixen that can't use her powers. And where do you think we're going with this?
I don't even know if I buy it. I think she's gonna leave the show.
Well, obviously, yeah.
And I think this is going to be. I don't know what the point of it is.
Do we think now we get see a little bit of the Vixen villain at the very end, Kawasa, who we saw in the Vixen cartoon.
Yeah.
I hope I'm saying that right. And we know Constantine is coming onto this show. Do we think that because her totem is magic that we're gonna get like a magical storyline on Legends?
Oh, okay. So maybe if she goes like full on evil and then Constantine has to like help wrangle her back in, I could get into that. But like we had the struggle of evil teammates all through season 1 with the Wonder Twins. So
The Wonder Twins.
Snart and Rory.
Oh, thank you.
The brothers that are
the Wonder
brothers.
Twins are not on this show. I was like, what?
Man, they'd be great as the Wonder Twins.
Sure.
You can hire me anytime to write that. So I don't know if I need another like pseudo evil teammate.
Yeah.
I think that's been done already, and I think it will not be done as well. I really don't understand why we're doing. I
don't know either.
I
hope it
cannot
pays
wrap
off.
my. I do. I think the lady who plays Kawasa looks great.
Oh, I think she looks great too.
She looks amazing. She looks like she actually walked off with the set of Black Panther. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Okay, so let's move Ashley straight into the rating of this episode based on a scale of things that I will not put on screen of 1 to 5, 5 being the best. What do you give this episode, Freak Show of Legends Tomorrow?
I think Freak Show was better than the premiere. Not by a lot. I think Billy Zane is a big part of why that was. And I think for the most part, everybody got a decent scene. So I'm going to give it 2.5 things you're not going to put on the screen.
Great.
Please keep going. If we go up by half increments in like 5 episodes, we'll be in good territory. So more of that. How about you? What are you going to give Freak Show?
This is an episode with no real stakes. This is an episode with no real rising action of any kind. Billy Zane is actually really, really good. Again, I would love to have him come back, but there's a lot of stupidity in this episode through the characters, through the writing, through the acting. And I think this is definitely weaker than the finale, or the premiere, excuse me. I'm giving this a 2. I don't think this was a quite enjoyable episode of Legends Tomorrow, and I'm going to say that if I were ever to rewatch Legends of Tomorrow Season 3, I would skip this episode. So that's why I'm putting it that low.
Even for Billy Zane?
I would. I would skip it. It's Billy Zane is not enough. Just to see them be such nincompoops is not good. All right, so let's talk about predictions. Ashley, where do you think Legends of Tomorrow is going in the future? How does Billy Zane come back? Please tell us right now.
Oh, I have no idea how Billy Zane is going to come back. Hopefully Ray Palmer is a descendant of his. I think really what's going to happen is... Hi.
I just like that idea.
Oh, good. I think there's a good chance that we're going to see Amaya get pregnant with Nate's baby, and we're going to learn that he is Mari's grandfather. And I think the fact that we could not let this, it's a lot like Barry and Iris, we could not let this couple that nobody asked for be rent asunder for more than 5 freaking seconds means that they're destined to be together in the laws of the TV show.
I hate that prediction.
Yeah, me too. But I think it's coming.
Oh, mama.
How about you?
Not in a good way.
Why don't you bring us some joy? Why don't you tell us how Billy Zane's going to come back to Legends of Tomorrow?
Billy Zane's going to come back in Legends of Tomorrow. I'm going to predict about halfway through the season because he has added I'm going to say a trickster of types to his menagerie. He has a new Wild West lawman called Jonah Hex as part of his troupe. Which actually has happened in the comic books before, but that's not actually my real prediction.
Legends, writers, producers, I will pay you money to have Jonah Hex shoot P.T. Barnum. Please do it.
No, that'll happen. Let me write that episode, please. But I'm saying like he will become as part of a traveling Wild West show, which actually happened in the Jonah Hex comic books. It's really cool. That's not actually my real prediction. My prediction is about Mollis. Second episode in a row, we mentioned Mollis. I still have no idea what Mollis is. I think Mollis is an organization.
I think it's an acronym?
I think it's an acronym of some type. I don't know what that acronym is, but I think it is going to be part of, you're going to find out it's part of the secret society led by Gorilla Grodd. I think Gorilla Grodd is one of our enemies, but he's not the true villain of the season because I think if Rip Hunter is so concerned about this thing that only the Legends can stop, to me that tells me it's something big. And I think that you're eventually going to find out that Gorilla Grodd and Mollis are working for an even more cosmic-y entity, a cosmic entity that has infiltrated every section of all matter of the entire multiverse since the beginning of time, something that would lean towards having to have some magic against them. I am talking about the massive Superman villain called Imperiex.
Ooh.
That is who I think is the villain of this season, because if you know anything about Imperix's storyline, Imperiex is all about destroying the universe because something is wrong with it. But then eventually he learns the way they beat him is Superman basically pushes him into the Big Bang, and Imperiex learns that his body being de-atomized into the Big Bang, being part of the building blocks of the universe, is the wrong thing that he is trying to fix his entire life. So it's kind of and that storyline, or a version of that storyline, seems prime for Legends.
It does. A nice self-fulfilling paradox.
Yes. So go downstairs and click subscribe, and we'll see you next week on Tuesday for a Flash review.
And why not click on one of the videos that's popped up on the screen, and for more exclusive geeky content, go to patreon.com/Jawiin.
Also, stick around. On Thursday, we have an Arrow review. And on Sunday, we have a Star Trek Discovery review. We have lots of reviews. Don't go anywhere.